Have you guys seen The Last Duel?
No, not yet.
No. It's on HBO Max. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I loved Matt Damon's Theo Von haircut the most.
He looks exactly like Theo Von in the trailer.
It freaked me out when I saw the trailer because it took me a minute to realize it was Damon. I legit was like, Theo fucking Von is in this? But it did lead me down a little rabbit hole on Wikipedia because after I watched the movie, I wanted to know about the events that it was inspired by. It is inspired by a true story and got me to, one of my favorite things on Wikipedia is the lists. They got long lists of things.
Yeah.
And this was just a list of famous duels.
Wow.
And I read that for about an hour and a half or so because they had famous duels in every country.
Oh, wow.
So you could just go down and be like, 1632, these two guys were mad at each other in England. 1979. What? Still? Yes, in the Philippines or whatever. And that led me to this. I wanted to read this. This is from GeriWalton.com. It's a historical website. Why Ben Affleck and Matt Damon didn't write this is the movie, I don't know. But so Frenchmen are well known for defending their honor by dueling. In fact, according to one historian, quote, duels did not always end in death, although too often they did. The practice among nobility of wearing swords as everyday dress facilitated these kind of encounters. The slightest pretext was used as an excuse for a duel of honor. The practice became very popular in France, where during the reign of Henry IV alone, more than 4,000 Frenchmen lost their lives in duels.
Oh, my God.
So that's just during one king's reign, and that was an 18-year period, by the way. During the reign of Louis XIII, it is reported that the orderly conversation in the morning was, do you know who fought yesterday? And after dinner, do you know who fought this morning? In a 20-year period, 8,000 pardons were issued for murder associated with duels.
Oh, my God.
So the shit was legal.
This used to be...
And this is the movie. All right. I'm sitting here with an accomplished screenwriter to my left and one of the most creative people I know to my right. Let's fucking make this movie. So with all the duels, perhaps the most bizarre duel that ever occurred between Frenchmen happened in 1808 when Napoleon Bonaparte was the emperor. It originated over a celebrated opera dancer at the Paris Opera named Mademoiselle Tirvette. And she was being kept by Monsieur de Grandpré, but became involved with Monsieur Pique. Both.
Ooh, my.
Both men laid claim to Tirvette's heart, and it was decided that the only way the men could possibly resolve the situation was with a balloon duel.
What is it? What does it mean?
To ensure it was fair, the men constructed identical balloons.
Constructed?
Like hot air balloons?
Yes.
Okay.
Hot air balloons. They also decided to use blunderbusses, which is
God.
the big rifle that just shoots anything
This
you put
is the
into.
coolest thing I've ever heard.
And instead of firing at each other, they decided to fire at the balloons themselves while in midair.
Okay, that's great. That's a great idea.
The idea was that the shot would hit the balloon, which in turn would cause the balloon's gas to escape and bring the balloon down to Earth.
Oh, my God.
So, on May 3rd, 1808, the day appointed for the balloon duel, the two duelers entered their respective balloon cars accompanied by their seconds. That's right. They had another guy driving the balloon. So that means that
one guy just was like, gonna die.
100% the other person would die if they lost.
Oh, my God.
At 9 o'clock in the morning, the cords securing the balloons to the ground were cut. The balloons then ascended from the gardens of the Tuileries, surrounded by a crowd of curious onlookers. At the time, many of the onlookers thought that they were observing a balloon race and sent the balloons off with cheers.
Yay!
Yay, look at them go. As the balloons ascended, the wind was blowing moderately from the northwest. The balloons rose to a height of about half a mile and were separated at a distance of 80 yards apart when a predetermined signal was given from below and the duel commenced.
Would a blunderbuss even work at that distance?
Apparently.
Seems not possible.
Pique fired the first shot and missed.
Classic.
Grand Prix, how do you miss a fucking balloon? think about how huge
What
a
if
hot
they're
air balloon.
that far away from each
I
other?
suppose, but it's like, I don't know. Lick your finger, stick it up, see where the wind's blowing, and then aim a little bit off from that direction. So they fired the first shot and missed. Grandpré then fired, and his shot hit the mark, and Lepique's balloon collapsed and descended with fearful rapidity.
Oh my God.
It was a terrible end for both Lepique and his second. When the balloon fell, they were, quote, dashed to pieces on a housetop.
This is the most French thing I've ever heard.
The victor, Monsieur Grandpré, celebrated. He went, quote, aloft in the grandest style and some 7 leagues from where the balloons ascended. So he basically took a victory lap around the city. They landed safely.
Would that take 9 hours?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Defeating Lepique meant that Grand Prix also won Tervette's heart, or at least that's what the two men believed, as they thought Tervette would, quote, bestow her smiles on the survivor.
She's like, ew,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, and that's literally, I think that's what happened, because there's no follow-up. It's not like they lived happily ever after. No one knows what happens to this lady. It was just like, yeah, she probably was like, yeah, that's too
What? Who are you again?
too aggro. Too aggro.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah. So, Maddie D, Ben A, let's get this going. I do want to show you, and I'll put this up on our Twitter so people can see it. The etching from the newspaper is hilarious. I don't know why this
That's
is
from the newspaper at the time.
Yeah, that's from the time. I don't know why that's not a meme, because that's just fucking amazing.
Yeah, can you send me that?
I'll send it to you right now. Thought I'd give you guys a little history for the day.
Oh my God.
I see it in my mind. It would be a short film perhaps, but you get the Softy brothers to do this. I think I
think in the movie version, they start out as enemies and they befriend each other over time, and the one is like crying as he like kills his friend and shoots him out of the air, and then by the time he like gets back to the lady and she's like no, and then it becomes like this tragedy where he shot and killed his friend in the most. This movie definitely has one of those titles that's like super long,
yes,
and like on the nose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It has to.
The tragedy of the balloon death in Paris, France.
Right.
Something.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the man who killed Adolf Hitler and the werewolf, or like whatever that movie was that came. Like one of those titles.
It killed Adolf Hitler and then Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I just feel like fancy French men. They did nothing for themselves, right?
I just feel bad for the second.
Yeah, it's like, and the second is probably just some like man who had no choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you're just staff in some rich guy's house, and you literally have to do anything he says,
That's the
or
thing.
be put to death anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, the second is the one that like interests me. Maybe that's what the movie's about. is the footman or whatever who has to go up in the stupid balloon and be like, well, you better win this.
You fucking idiot.
Oh God, I just love that so much. But yeah, check out that Wikipedia.
The French are really
best duels.
really some cool stuff in history with the French.